Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation. With your boy CL Anthony and my main man Bryce Ward. Bryce, of course, as always, we got some shit to get into this morning. What's
Of
going
course,
on, my man?
not much, just work, family, and glad to be here as always.
All right, so the Denver Nuggets went into Miami and took two home games to take a commanding 3-1 lead. So I'm going to go into why this happened later, a little later. I'm going to go into why this happened. But do you think Miami will be able to send this thing back to Miami Monday night, or do you think Denver wraps up the series in 5 games?
I'm split on that. I've been thinking about it because the Miami Heat do tend to answer back when really pushed up against the wall, but the last two games just didn't look like they could really do too much. If Denver's playing the way that they like to play and they're playing it effectively, it really I think they have too many weapons for the Heat right now. So I think Denver. I think they close it out at home. I wouldn't be surprised though if the Heat win and then they win the next game in Miami, and they close it out in Miami. I mean, like, of course, if you're Denver, you probably want to win in front of your home crowd though. I just don't know if it's gonna work out that way. I don't think though. I think if the Heat win this game, I don't think it goes back. hmm That's fine. Gonna be walking home with that instead of a ring, but that's okay.
Game three souvenir. Um, my tickets wasn't low enough to get a shirt apparently, so I got a towel.
Finals tickets are expensive.
Yeah. Um, so from a basketball standpoint, and I know I'm going to be in the minority here, but we speak in terms of realness, and we're not fanboys. Denver hasn't played that great. Denver's been winning these games by a lot of mistakes made by the Miami Heat. But Denver really hasn't been playing that great. If you look at the final scores, each team is not scoring a lot of points. There's a lot of ugly basketball going on.
hmm
With that said, Denver are making tough shots when they need to, but they're not playing great basketball. The biggest mistake that the Miami Heat made was going 7 games with Boston. That team is absolutely gassed. They're tired. Those legs are gone. That's why the 3-point shots are all falling short right now. Now, of course, they won't admit it. No team wants to admit that they're dead in the water, but that's what's going on. The Heat are just tired. Um, and I look back at that Boston series, and as great as it was, being up 3-0, then Boston winning the next 3 games, and then you have game 7 in Boston. As great as it was, Denver was at home chilling for 11 days before the finals even started. So Denver's the fresher team. They're getting the rebounds. And like I said, they're hitting not only tough shots at the end of the shot clock, but with that said, they're also hitting timely shots. And I don't think Miami has had the energy to overcome that. Had both these teams, Denver swept the Lakers, I believe, yeah. Had both these teams completed their sweeps, I think the games have been close, believe it or not. But I think they would have been even more close had both these teams came in with the same energy levels. But I mean, there's no one to blame but the Heat for letting Boston get back into that series. But I think that was a huge detriment to Miami in this series, and they're just gassed, bro. Those legs are gone. So that was an observation, especially from being there in Game 3. And Denver's doing the right thing by taking it. Denver knows they're gas, by the way, and they're doing the right thing by taking advantage of it. I do believe Miami is going to win Wednesday night. I'm sorry, Monday night, and get it back to Miami. I do believe Miami's going to win Game 6. I still think this is going to be a 7-game series. I don't think they will have enough to get Game 7 in Denver. Not from a talent standpoint, but just because I don't know how much longer those legs can last. But I think we do have a 7-game series. So yeah, have you
Okay.
seen have you seen anything so far that surprised you in this series?
Not not necessarily surprised me. It's just a little different than what I thought we'd see. So I think Miami has a way of making a lot of teams not play their best basketball, if that makes sense. The kind of defense they play, the kind of pressure they put on the team, especially near ends of games, like we've talked about many times. But they have a knack of making teams. They put pressure on teams, and so I think Denver already just looked so good against all the teams they did play against that this looks like they're not playing as good of basketball, which I don't think. I think every team kind of plays a lesser version against the Heat. Like they just put you in that mindset. But still, with that said, though, Jokic and Murray and at least like one other guy every game has been able to pop off since that second game when it was just Jokic. And I mean, game 3, Murray and Jokic had both triple doubles. Jokic had the first ever 30-20-10 triple double.
In the
And so,
finals.
yeah, they've gotten they've gotten a lot of different looks from Spoelstra in this Heat team. But like you said, it's a combination, I think, of Miami being tired, plus Jokic being a great on-court decision maker, and Denver's coach isn't as much of a pushover, I don't think, as some of these other coaches Spoelstra's had to face. Not taking anything away from those other coaches, it just seems like this guy is more willing to take the adjustments more seriously, I guess, and you see a response from him. But I just don't know if the Heat have enough energy left to take this to 7 games, because some of these games have been maybe tighter than the scores let on, but then there's something happens where by the end of the game, though, looking at the scores, it seems like the game wasn't close, and so there's some kind of disconnect there in terms of like what the Heat are doing most of the game and how the game actually finishes. And I think a lot of that is energy. I think Butler had a harder time getting, I guess, going well enough to where the rest of the players could really feed off that energy as much this series as well, because I haven't seen him getting to the line driving as much, and that could be somewhat because of Denver's size and the way they play defense and things. Like, I get that, and I also think it's an energy level. I think it's a combination of all these things that the Heat are playing their style, but Denver's so big and long and good offensively that it's just not as big of an effect, and they're low energy right now because of their last series. So I think there's a lot going for Denver in terms of having almost the advantages in the series. But I mean, they put themselves there. They swept the Lakers. They did that. You know what I mean? Like, they put in the work. They've been close for the last 3-4 seasons, just couldn't stay healthy. And then when you see a bench player stepping up one game, Aaron Gordon stepping up another game. I know what's his name's having a terrible series, and I always forget his name. I always want to say Pope, Contavious Caldwell Pope, but it's not. It's just because of the way the names flow. It's what's his name? The other big guy that Aaron Gordon liked.
You're thinking about
Porter Jr.
My boy, Michael
Yeah.
Porter Jr. Yes, he is having a hard
I can't for the life of me remember his name.
I can take a guess. I can take a good guess at why he's having a horrible series.
Terrible series.
I can take a real good guess at why. Okay.
But with that being said, Denver has the weapons to, if Murray and Jokic do their thing. One other guy going off, I think it's just too much right now for the Heat being a little shorthanded, a little winded, and yeah, I think you guys will be lucky to get another game. That's how I feel.
That's cute. I don't, and let me say this. Let me say this before I go deep into this from a fan standpoint. Game 4 wasn't shenanigans. Denver beat us. Game 3 was hella shenanigans. I mean, hella shenanigans. And being in that audience and watching the shenanigans and watching the replay and feeling the crowd reaction, that was disgusting. I didn't text you because I know you'd be asleep certain times, but I was texting Nick and Kenny, and Game 3 was disgusting. That was bad, man. That was disgusting, especially in Miami. That was gross. Game 4, they beat us, yeah. So we'll see what happens in Game 5. But yeah, that was Game 3 was rough as far as the officiating. And I texted Nick and Kenny, and Kenny told me, he was like, dude, Magic was ripping the refs at halftime. Because of course I didn't see it because I'm at the game. And but I believe it because it was gross. It was really gross. Any momentum that he had in Game 3, the refs were really trying to stop that. So that was gross. But it's the NBA. We know what the NBA is. It was just gross. So I think the Heat win the next 2 games. I think we take it to Game 7, and then we'll see what happens. It'll be a toss-up at that point. Moving along, Damian Lillard listed a few teams, but he listed 2 of his top teams that he would like to go. So me and you have talked about this since day 1 of this podcast about Dame needing to go. What is Dame going to do? We've talked about Dame on here. We've both been upset with Dame with some things that he has said. Do you believe this offseason is the offseason that Dame is finally moved? You don't think so?
Nope. I think whatever conclusion Dame could come to now, he would have come to when the opportunity was there to leave. I don't think a lot has changed since then. He made the choice to stay very recently. No, I don't think that changes this offseason. It should have changed like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. But I don't think this offseason is it. The list is interesting, but it's not very different than lists we've seen before, if you know what I mean. It's kind of common teams that other stars might want to go to. None of this all that surprising, but I don't think Dame would move.
I'm really shocked that he would list Brooklyn. No, and don't get me wrong.
The only reason Brooklyn doesn't surprise me is just because it's a New York team.
Oh yeah.
So you have you have the city, you have a market, if that makes sense.
Because Brooklyn has pieces, and like you said, it is New York, but Brooklyn still surprised me. But of course, whatever relationship he has with Bam, I didn't know about. But of course, he said he would want to come to Miami because of Bam. I didn't know they had a relationship, and so looking at the way the Heat are laid out, looking at this improbable finals run, if the Heat were to make a move, I wouldn't mind a sharpshooter like Dame, a killer like Dame. I wouldn't mind that. So that's why I brought it up, because I'm like, okay, the Heat are in the finals, yada, 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 okay. But Dame's looking at the Heat, looking at Brooklyn. Okay, we can talk about it just a little bit. I don't think Dame would, in this particular series, because he's so small, I don't know how impactful he would be in this particular series. But as far as getting the Heat through the Eastern Conference again, it might work. Okay. I'm going to say this about Denver. All those boys have already been paid. Denver's going to be around for a little while. Like they've already been around for a little while, but
Yeah.
they've locked up their big three.
They win a
So
championship, it puts them on a new level, the confidence and everything. They're going to be around.
right. So outside of Michael Porter Jr., wink wink, who we know he likes to play, wink wink. Um, and he's locked up too, by the way. Uh, I think this team will be around for a long time. So I definitely want to give Denver some credit for what they've built. I like the foundation that they've built. I know you mentioned Michael Malone. He doesn't like to be called Mike Malone. He likes to be called Michael Malone. So I know you've mentioned him. He is an absolutely astounding head coach. Just from an accountability standpoint, I love him. In the event that they win the championship Monday night, because we're not going to record, until maybe next Wednesday. In the event that the Denver Nuggets win Monday night, 1, they absolutely deserve it. 2, it was hard earned. And 3, they deserve all the flowers that they get, from Jokic to Murray to Michael Malone, because they seem that team seems to have a synergy right now. And it's hard to deny that they're united. They're playing together. Like they just have it rolling right now. So, and I'm not just saying that because they're beating the Heat, but if you look at their playoff run this year, even if you look at the playoff runs in the past, even when they were hurt, everyone knew if this team ever got healthy, they were going to be dangerous. So now it looks like it's going to be a celebration of the Nuggets this year. And
They've had that feeling all season, I think.
Yeah. One thing about Jokic, man, from a fan standpoint, watching Jokic is so frustrating because the ugly ass shots that he throws up, and they're so feathery soft, and they just go in. The nets don't even move, bro. The nets don't. He has such a beautiful touch off these ugly ass shots. It is something to behold. It is absolutely something to behold. And
I know
it's just
Embiid won the MVP this year, but do you think there's anybody realistically better than Jokic to have on your team?
well. Remember, I said I thought all year that Jokic should win it for the 3rd straight time in a row. My heart was saying Embiid, of course. My heart was saying Embiid. But from a basketball standpoint, Jokic should have won it for the 3rd straight time. I'm not going to get into why Embiid got it. We know why Embiid got it. But Jokic is as frustrating as a player to watch on the opposing end, but is beautiful as a player to watch from a pure basketball standpoint, because his touch for a big man is absolutely amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. The closest I could come, and I'm not comparing the two because the other player is still greater. Jokic still has work to do. Hakeem Olajuwon had beautiful touch around the basket, round and round. And Jokic is close to that. He's close to that. Player for player, Hakeem was still better, especially on the defensive end. He's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Jokic isn't there yet. But offensively, with the touch that Jokic has around the basket, it's Hakeem-like. And it's like, wow. It's like, wow. Because he throws up the most awkward shit.
Yeah.
And then it goes in, but it goes in so softly, like it doesn't bounce all over the rim, doesn't hit the backboard. It's literally in the center of the fucking rim. Dude, it's beautiful. So if Denver can pull this thing off, kudos to Denver. There's absolutely no hate for Denver. And I'm speaking from a Heat fan perspective. They earned it because any team that can beat the Heat 4 times in a week at this stage, Earned it. Okay. I do want to. Where are we at? We're at 20 minutes in.
I did not think they were going to take both Heat home games.
I didn't either.
The Heat haven't lost a lot at home. I didn't think Denver was going to take 2 in a row like that at home.
That was shocking. But like I said, they earned game 4, but game 3 was handed to them. Game 3 was shenanigans, but they did earn game 4. I want to say this. Only because if this thing wraps up Monday, we're not going to record maybe until Wednesday. Udonis Haslem got into the game in game 3 at 42 years old, I believe. He's the oldest player to ever play in an NBA Finals game. This is Udonis Haslem's last season. 20 years with one franchise. It's only been done twice before, Dirk and Kobe. Okay. One of the main reasons why I went to game 3 was to see Haslem one last time. Not for Jimmy, not for anyone else. I went to see Haslem one last time. So I was happy when Eric put him in the game. Yeah, the NBA shits on him. I get that. But from a Heat fan perspective, I just want to say thank you to UD40 because I don't know how this team is going to be without him next year. I don't know. I don't know because he's the bridge. He's the bridge from Alonzo Mourning to Dwayne Wade to LeBron James, Chris Bosh, now to Jimmy Butler and Bam. He's played with all those guys. So, Udonis, thank you for 20 years. I appreciate you. I love you. You are a Florida boy. But win or lose, his career is coming to an end in the NBA Finals. So, that man's fucking awesome, bro. It's fucking awesome. So, yeah. You got any last thoughts?
No, not today. These are the topics we covered. I'm good.
I will say this.
We'll wait. Well, I guess we'll wait to get into some other news until more reveals itself. All I know is Zion's working on his cardio. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to mention it. We're not going to go deep into it because a lot of podcasters have talked about this. So we're not going to go deep into it. But just because of a time standpoint, we're going to talk about it. So just briefly. Zion Williams, of course, is in a lot of, I'm not even going to say trouble, is in the news for some off-court shenanigans. One, he's an adult. We're grown. So to be blunt, you can fuck who you want to fuck, as long as you don't fuck animals and fuck kids, right? Fuck who you want to fuck. But you want to make sure you have everything lined up so it doesn't get messy. Kind of like how it's getting messy for Zion right now, right? But for any fan to be surprised that an NBA player would have more than one mate is absolutely ridiculous. These are grown men. These are professional athletes. They have the pick of the litter. So we shouldn't be surprised that there's a possibility of one and more mates. But like with Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You just have to be careful with how you maneuver.
You gotta be careful with who you have kids with.
Yes.
Maybe.
You got to be careful who you promise the world to and say, oh, yeah, I'll move you into New Orleans. You can come live with me when your other baby mama's probably right down the road in the same fucking neighborhood, right? Convenience. Chris Rock once said a man is only as faithful as his options. Remember that?
I've heard it many times.
But I'll say this. The fact that you were medically cleared at mid-season to play, and you didn't play because of your mind, but you was off playing another game, I don't know if I can take you serious anymore as a basketball player. I just don't know because extracurricular activities involve back, involve knees, involve stamina. Everything that you need to be on the court. So
And
you can do what?
maybe if he proves something to us up to this point, we'd give him a little benefit of the doubt on that side, but we can't because he hasn't been able to stay on the court.
Right. So if you can do one thing, as you said off the record, to help your cardio, you should be able to do the other thing too.
So he recently had a tweet or a statement, or his team came out or something where people were saying he's working on his cardio.
Yeah. So good.
That's what he's focused on.
Yeah, good cardio exercise. I get it. Good cardio exercise. But, and I'm going to be blunt here, and then we're going to wrap it up. I need to see your big ass on the court.
Mm-hmm. A little less as big from last year.
Yeah, we need to see your big ass on the court. Because we know your back's good, your knees are good, and your stamina is good. Bro, we need you on the court. So we're gonna leave it at that. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Anyone who's a fan of basketball, drop some comments below. We always respond. Thank you guys. We have some great things coming for next season because this season is wrapping up. This season's going to be over with by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Either Denver or Miami, but it's going to be over by the end of the week. And then we're going to move into our next season at the Hardwood Nation podcast. So thank you guys and be safe.
Real quick. Who are you more disappointed in right now, Zion or Ja? With his toy gun.
Give me 2 more minutes. I'm more disappointed in Zion. But I will say this about Ja.
Surprising.
The toy gun excuse is almost the biggest bullshit I've ever seen in the history of the NBA.
It's so weak. It's so weak. The NBA has so much more on him that people don't know about, and they're gonna drop the hammer on him.
Yes, the toy gun doesn't even help. It might make it worse because, God, this wasn't a topic. Forgive me. Commissioner Silver was on the Dan Patrick show this week, and he addressed the toy gun situation, and he pretty much was like, it doesn't matter because we're looking at the history of events. So all the other events that happened around Ja's camp this year, he's going to get half the season. Hopefully he learns from this. I heard that he's removing himself from his friend group, which is good. So he's trying to do things right now to try to alleviate the decision, but the decision has already been made, and they're just waiting until the finals are over with. So
that's how bad it is.
So the spirit of David Stern in this moment is in Adam Silver. He's Palpatine. He's still alive. He's been resurrected. This is the rise of Skywalker. I'm telling you. Siri's talking to me right now. But this is the rise of Skywalker. He's going to get half a season. I would be shocked if he gets anything less than 41 games. I would be absolutely shocked because Silver, even though he's pro player, if you sit in front of the NBA commissioner and you fool him and you lie to him and you get caught again, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. So everyone stay safe and we are out.
Yeah.